Hello all. Before we begin the video, let's discuss CloudFoundation. CloudFoundation is the premier online training platform to help individuals and organizations gain knowledge and skills in the ever-growing cloud computing industry.
So in a project you can have a SAP HR consultant also, SuccessFactor consultant also. But SAP HR consultant and SuccessFactor and SAP HR consultant cannot able to compare with the S of consultant. Well, yes, our only thing is that there will be data mapping will be there. Yeah. But the fields will be defined and configured with a different tool. Here and there, the process of defining and configuring will be a different process. So you cannot say at any point of time that we are configuring in this way and why we are not configuring here in this way. That is the reason. So you have learned the SAP HR. You know it, but you restrict yourself from there and you learn from a scratch on what for SuccessFactor. Okay, so, coming back here we have the two objects to data, that is, organization data and the employee data. So what is an organization data and what is an employee data? I have told employee central help was to maintain the set of data for this, organization data, and one is employee data. So what is an employee data and what is an organization data? This is something because where I am going very basic level, so that we need to understand the process flow, how it goes in the organization. Then only we can able to directly come into the system. If you are jumping into the system without having an exposure into the process, then that is also very risky. See, employee data means it is personal details and other details. Compare and tags details like that. Yeah, okay. So we have employee data which includes all your personal details, which includes your contact, which includes your address information and you're more into the job information. So these are the personal. What is the organization data then? For organization data would be like the cost center. Yeah, go ahead. So the organization data is something which is the data which has been maintained by the organization, right? So how? The organization structure, how we have a organization structure view, how we have a company view structure, a lighter hierarchy or international hierarchy, and management like that. So you have a company. You have a B, U's will be, the business units will be, the division will be, the departments will be there. Right. So all these are the organization structure, right? So these structures, where it is configured and where it is maintained in the employee center, right? Same way you are maintaining the employee data. Employee data means what? After once you are hiring an employee. After hiring the employee, it will get into the employee profile, and that employee profile is also maintained in the employee center. So there is a difference between an employee central and an employee profile. So employee profile is a place where you maintain the employee data, and this employee data is stored in the employee profile, and employee profile is being configured and maintain it in the employee center. So we can see here the Employee Central, that is EC, is maintained, the master database of an organization, and EC helps the organization. That is Employee Central helps organization to engage and empower the entire employees, which includes the HRs, managers and all employees working in the organization. That is one thing, and I also have a comparison here, that into the cloud that we are going for the successor, and that is another product, that is ECC, if we call it on premises. So when you go into the ECC, we have PAOM, time and payload. When you go into the cloud, apart from the talent modules, we have ECC Employee Center. Employee Central is again divided into three parts: Employee Central, Core, Type of and Payroll. So under Employee Central Core, whatever we have learned or somebody has learned in P, A and OM, that will be generally covered under Employee Central Core. How we are doing at a cloud level? So, coming back here, Employee Central manages the employee with a global system of record. So when you handle a customer, the customer's line of business will be having to the 4 to 5 countries. So all the 4 to 5 countries employee, whoever are located in these 4 to 5 countries, the data will be maintained on a centralized way. So that is the reason it can say it is saying it managing the employee with a global system of record. Captures all employees at data at one place. It continues the talent data for the company, and so employee member for talent data means what? The talent information. What is the talent information? Talent information covers what are the positions? What are the critical positions? What is this involved into the particular positions? So all these things we are getting in the talent information, and this talent information is stored. How it is coming? It is coming from the talent data. And from where the talent data is coming? From the Employee Center. So internally, Employee Central will be again connected with the other modules. What are the other modules you may be? You may be having performance management, goal management, you will be having the succession management. You have another module that is called as a career development, and in OK you have LMS, that is Learning Management System. So all these talent modules, from where the data will be flowing, from the Employee Center. And when the data is flowing to all these talent modules, like succession management, OK, learning management system, it always require the information which is related to the talent information. So that is flowing from the EC. OK, is it clear? Any questions? No questions, no. So Employee Central. Again, it is divided into two parts which we can have said. One is called as a HR data and the is called as a form section. Object, OK. So let us discuss about the HR data. So when we go into the HR data, let us take a scenario that an employee a candidate got selected in a company. OK. So what are the things which the candidate will be submitting to the organization, to the employer? Can you tell me? He would be submitting his personal details. First of all, details includes the help, the support process name. Yeah. And the date of birth, All these information he will be sharing, and he will be sharing the contact information, right? So contact information, address information, and then you have a previous company information also. Right, that also will be sharing. So, apart from that, what are the other things we will be sharing? Just a generic like an employee will be sharing to the employer. Personal data. I think we have to give like then hand details. Then if we have previous, I mean any, if A, P, F, maybe all the sites. I didn't ask for any. So these are these informations which the candidate is giving to the employer, that is, that detail like, which includes the personal information, contact information, address information, job information and nationalities. All this information which the employees which a candidate is giving to the employer, that is called as HR data. Okay. And once the employer will see that is information. That is the help of this information they will transfer, they will hire, do the hiring process in the system. That is, from starts with the recruiting process, then it goes to the onboarding, and from the onboarding it will go to the employee central, and from the employee central it will go for the hiring process, and with this, all this data help us to create an employee profile in this, where the employee profile will be created in the system. Got it? Okay, but I think this is like general question, since employees, not we, would not directly get the information. I mean we should even we get the data we have to hire and on. I mean that only I'm telling it will. The data will flow from RCM, that is, from the recruiting. And from there the data will be initially the identifying the candidate, scheduling the interviews. Okay, and going with a certain level of interviews, that everything will go from RCM. Okay, once the candidate is being selected, then they will be sent. They will be sent an offer letter, and at the time they have to submit the documents. And when they're submitting the documents, that will go into the onboarding process, when they start filling up all the details in the onboarding. And from the onboarding, once the data is being created in the system with the help of the onboarding process. So, when they are creating the data, how they will get the information which the candidate is giving with this documentation, right? That is your personal information, contact address, all this information when he or she submitting if they are using SuccessFactor, they will create all these informations by inserting this information in the system that is at the onboarding process. Still, we are not into employee center. Okay, once the onboarding, they create the details, everything in the system, that data will be flowing into the employee center. Okay. So what happens? Once you submit your documents and everything, you will say that I have a month of notice period, right? I will join after 1 month. Okay. So the offer letter will be also issued according to that, right? So they will be having a checklist. According to the checklist, they will request the candidate to submit the documents, right? So when the candidate will submit a document, on the basis of the document information, they will create a profile in the onboarding. Okay. And once they will create a profile, that profile will be moving and storing it in the employee center, and it will be there at the employee center. And the day when the candidate joins. After 1 month, the HR will pick up the data from the employee center and come initiate the remaining hiring process by creating the employee. So this is the flow which goes on. So for that, when the HR data is placed, a very important role in employee center. Okay, so HR data is something like which a candidate is sharing the information to the employer. Okay, so these details they will accumulate these details and they will create an employee profile in the system, which the data will be floating from the onboarding to the employee center. Got it? That is the reason I try to explain what is an HR data. Yes, and this HR data in SuccessFactor we call as an employee data also, and also succession data also. Okay, it is also known as employee data, also as less the succession data. Okay, this is about something which employee is giving to the employer. Now the second question is that, what employees is providing to the employee? Oh, for little. Obviously, hopefully there, but in that offer letter of what are the information we have? Only you have only discussing about the information. So we have the employee and the employee is giving to the employee. So that we have.
And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.